Welcome to today's LOL session on Webex Breakout Sessions. We've been hearing from people all summer saying, why doesn't Webex have breakout rooms? So here we are. If you would like to grab the slides right now and get a copy for yourself, you can go to bit.ly/LOL-breakout. Remember that it is case sensitive, so it's bit.ly/LOL-breakout. I'm going to show this once again before the end of the session today, but if you want to be following along, there's some links in here that might be of interest to you during the presentation. The first couple of slides that I've got for you really are just resource slides, so I'm not going to belabor them. There is a Cisco Webex page that has some support material, so I grabbed some highlight information from this Webex meeting breakout sessions article. So if you want the whole article, once you get the slides, you can just click on the link up at the top. But there's a slide here, if you are the host, that gives you some information, how to create and start the sessions, adding, naming, deleting, taking people out of breakout sessions. So any of these links is going to take you to additional Webex information. And then the next slide is more something you might share with students if you are a participant, how to join or leave the breakout session, asking for help during the breakout session, that kind of thing. So these two colored chart slides are really for your purposes. And I found a pretty good 5-minute demo of getting your Webex set up for doing breakout rooms. And I think Jeremy's going to pull that up.
Yeah, I got it. Ready.
We are inside of a Webex. We have breakout sessions enabled in this version of Webex. This is 40.9 and later. The first thing we need to do is actually go up to the menu and enable breakout sessions. This will actually add a breakout sessions button at the bottom of the Webex window. This makes it very easy to configure and break your group out into separate sessions. So go ahead and click the breakout sessions button. In the window that appears, you have all of your breakout session functionality. I want to point out some settings that are key before we actually break this group apart into multiple sessions. You have settings here. You have the option to allow attendees to return to the main meeting. If you uncheck this, they are going to be locked into that session for the duration of the session or until you, manually request that those sessions close. You can allow attendees to join breakout sessions later. You can also automatically close the breakout sessions after some period of time. This would be most helpful in maybe a classroom environment where you give everyone 10, 15, 30 minutes to work on something and then bring them back together. Finally, when you close the breakout session or when the breakout session timer is expiring, you can actually show a warning for a period of time prior to everyone being brought back together. If you've started configuring breakout sessions and you need to kind of restart, you can hit the reset button, and this allows you to choose whether you want your breakouts to be built automatically or manually. Automatically will put people into groups randomly per the number of sessions that you want. So if you have 9 participants and you want 3 sessions, you will have 3 participants per session. If you want to manually assign breakouts, you can choose manually and then hit reset. That reset action will create sessions for you, and you can actually rename these, call this Team 1, something like that, and then you can actually assign individuals to that breakout session. So we can choose 3 or 4 people here and do that. We can go down through and assign members to the other sessions. When we're done, we can actually hit Start Breakout Session, and it will take and put those individuals into their respective session. Now, you notice that I still have a number of people who are not assigned. In this case, it would split that small group off individually. The remainder of the attendees will actually stay in the main session. I'm going to go ahead and assign everyone, break them out, and then show you what that experience is like as well. With all of my assignments made, you can see that I am the only one who is not assigned. I have 4 people in Team 1, I have 3 people in Team or Breakout Session 2, and I have 2 people in Breakout Session 3. I'm going to go ahead and hit Start Breakout Session. You'll notice all the participants disappeared behind the window here, so everyone is broken out. I am actually the host, and I'm still in the main session, but what I can do is I can actually join each one of these breakout sessions and see the smaller group and work with that smaller group on whatever the task might be that they're working on. Let's hit join session 2. Here you can see I'm now part of a smaller session. It shows which session I'm currently connected to, breakout session 2, and the session time, which is how long this session has been, currently open. Since I've worked with this smaller group enough and I'm ready to move on, I can come to the bottom and hit the leave session button. It asks me to confirm, and I'll be returned back to the main meeting. Of course, I can join any one of these other sessions and have the same type of functionality. You'll notice the breakout sessions are listed in a separate tab than the main meeting. Keep that in mind as you manage your participants. To manage the breakout sessions while everyone is broken out, I can come to breakout sessions, and you'll notice a few other functionalities that have been added. You can see the broadcast button. This allows me to send a message to all of the breakout sessions and articulate something to all of them without having to pop into each one to actually say it. Choose that. I can choose all or one in particular. And I can say, hey, ending soon. And I can send that message and everyone will get it. Finally, when you're ready to end all of the sessions, you can hit end all breakout sessions. It asks you to confirm because they are probably actively working on something, and a countdown begins that will count down. Now I had it set to 10 seconds, so after 10 seconds we will see everyone starting to pop back into the main session. Here they come now.
Yeah, that seemed like the most reasonable video that I saw, short and to the point. So that link in the chat will take you to today's videos, and it has links to Cisco Webex resources, and it has a link to this 5-minute video if you want to go back again and watch it later. I wanted to point out a couple of features to you guys, and then Juliet is playing host today, and she will put you into small groups. So again, if you have gotten the slides, if you use that LOL-breakout link that I sent, that I put in the chat, then you'll be able to go to some of these articles. So Webex meeting best practices, the link at the top will take you to the full article. But just a couple of things. So on the slide you can see, after you join the session, if you keep your participants panel open, then it's going to give you a little bit of extra information. This is where you'll say, okay, here's how long we've been in here. So if your instructor had told you you have 10 minutes, then you'll know how long the session's been going. This one would have been going only 3 minutes, so you'd know you still had 7 minutes to discuss. And then just to the right of that is the Ask for Help button. So if you get stuck, click the button and your host can enter your room and help you and clarify things for you. I was in a session last week because we were playing around with this, and somebody freaked out because their Ask for Help button wasn't there. And then we realized, oh, the host is in the room. So if the host is in the room with you, that Ask for Help is going to disappear because the help is already there with you. As soon as they leave, the Ask for Help button shows up again. So it'll tell you who's there in the session, how long it's been going, that kind of thing. And other than that, those little mini sessions are just like the regular Webex sessions that you've been in. Your stop and start video, your mute and unmute is going to be exactly the same. It's just a subset of the people who are in there. So again, once we get you started in your groups, if your group needs help, you can get the host or co-host. So I think either Juliet or I can enter your room. You can share content pretty much the same as you can in the general room. And you may see something like this pop up in that 5-minute video demo. He said, hey, you can broadcast messages to the groups. You'll see a box like this pop up if the host or co-host decides that they want to broadcast a message, then every one of the groups would see this. The question that we would like you to think about with your group is, if you decide you're going to use breakout groups, how are you going to structure that? You guys are going to have 10 minutes in your small groups, and you want to think about 3 things. Optimal size, so how many students? Will you choose group roles? Are you going to designate group roles to the people who are in those groups? And you can talk about the pros and cons of that. If you do assign roles, what do those roles and responsibilities look like? And then this last one just says, will students remain in the same groups throughout the course? So will you mix them up or will you keep them in the same groups And you may think about what that would have looked like face-to-face and what that's going to look like now in this WebEx environment. So, optimal size for the group? Group roles, yes or no? If yes, what are they? And will you keep the structure of the groups the same, the composition of the groups the same through the whole semester? So I'm going to ask Juliet as the host to get people into their small groups and have everybody break out into the small groups for a moment.
Awesome. So I'm going to go to breakout up at the top and then enable breakout session. You don't have to do this every time, I don't think, but then a button will appear at the bottom of the screen that says breakout sessions. So when I click that, it asks me, well, okay, you're 12 participants, how many sessions do you want? So I'm going to say 4, so you guys can all be in 3 per session, but that's going to be something that you're going to be talking about, and then automatically. But I also have the option to do manually if I wanted to, and then I can I think it's a click and drag type deal. So I'm going to create assignments automatically, and then let's see, make sure that the settings are all set up. So I'm going to go ahead and automatically close the breakout session after 10 minutes. That's a nice feature so that I could keep track. All right. And then finally, it asks you some other things and we're good. I'm going to start the breakout session. So you guys will go. You're not going to have the breakout button on top unless you're the host, I don't think. So then I'm going to show how to join each of the groups. I have this nice little panel. I can even rename them, which is kind of cool if they come up with a team name. So I'm going to join.
But I'm really familiar with Zoom. Very familiar.
That's awesome. I use Webex Teams.
Oh, you use the Teams. Okay.
Yeah, Nicole sold me on that. It is very easy. Students can get in and out easily, but I want to learn about Webex Meet.
So it looks like that was a little weird because since I have a co-host, it was saying that somebody else was already using it. And then let's see, I'll go into this one, join.
For you. Once you do that one time, that then should become your default, and then you'll have that button.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know how because I did that up.
And then here we go. Jeremy's like, I can't hear you. We're just checking out all of these. Looks like Mary went in there. We'll go over here. See Mickey and everybody.
I think there are links in the slides that lead you, we can ask Juliet or,
Hello.
So.
Juliet, was there just one link?
Yeah, for the slides, did you get it? I don't know what it is. I'll find it.
We're supposed to talk about groups, and we're supposed to talk about optimal sizes, right? Isn't that the first thing? We're just going to chat. Happen, how many people are there? I think, but I always do try. Well, I did a thing last week where they all had to talk and share, so I didn't assign roles, but it took forever. And so today I did what I normally do, where they're brainstorming and one is going to share out. It was different because I'm used to having someone write it down and someone else share. But now, because whoever shares has to be taking the notes,
So, who knows our questions?
Oh, there's the broadcast message. Right on time.
Right on time, yeah. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, thank you, Juliet. Optimal group size and how to structure them.
I might have to think about something
that was
else.
Nice. I had a broadcast to all breakout sessions. And it looks like I had that while I was in.
I found the same thing that 3 to 4. 4 seems to be optimal, but I do the same thing where I sort of assign in one way, shape, or form somebody to be the official speaker when we come back. Nobody's sure who they say something. I don't really want to say something for accountability, so I kind of do the same thing as you do.
And I know that it's much harder to pull their teeth out.
So back in this main screen, we've got all the participants here. We've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions. I see everybody. I have join abilities here. There's no one in the main meeting. I can go back and forth and look. And then I have this little pop out that apparently travels with me if I join a meeting. And then other options for breakout. You can always go and do more, bring this back up if for some reason it wasn't there. So you have this button down here, but then you also have the breakout option up in the top. And if you don't, we can put in a help desk ticket. So just email the CTLA, but you should have that when you're the host of the meeting. I don't think that it would be there if you were a participant of the meeting, but maybe. All right. So you noticed that the broadcast was cool. I'm hoping that somebody is going to ask me for help. Let's see. Let's see, broadcast to all sessions. So I can choose which session. Let's see, I was just in there. And I could choose a person. Oh, cool. Oh, you asked for help. Oh, here we go. There's a little question. And then I can join a group.
And I said, what is your experience about meeting? I mean, group sessions, and you have no idea. I mean, all students, they wrote. I gave them also grade. It was graded.
That was cool. Oh, look at this.
There she is.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm doing the participant perspective screencast, so we'll invite her in.
Hi, students.
Hello.
Hello. I
Hello,
love
Miss
this.
Julia.
This is fun. This broadcast to all breakout sessions is really cool, and you can like choose which session and which person, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, your first broadcast reminding us of the questions in the prompt was very timely because we had just said, "Hey, who remembers what the questions were?" And they just appeared. It was magic.
That's cool.
It was perfect.
Do. Got you. All right, I'm gonna leave now. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for dropping in.
You'd have to have that all planned out before
Oh,
you
yeah,
start the class.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to have it planned out.
Juliet.
Hi, Joni. Thank you.
Hi,
for-
Juliet.
Do you feel need?
Help us.
Did everybody call you at once?
Yeah, no, it was like one group, and it was good. It's good to see. You know, you don't get it when you're in. I wonder if I open this. Yeah, it looks like.
36 seconds left.
Yeah, you guys are gonna get kicked out soon.
Quick, report out.
To see the camera.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
So you don't have to worry about it. They just had to get the Zoom invite. But I haven't tried on
Juliet.
Webex. Oh, perfect.
So I'm just gonna kick everybody out right now.
We weren't done.
Hey, you had the 10-minute countdown, did you not?
Yes.
I thought that was interesting because I guess maybe if you don't set a time limit, the time counts up. But if the host sets a time limit, it counts down. Because I think we did it last week and we were just messing around and it seemed like the time was increasing, not decreasing. So good to know. And then you guys would be much more structured than I am, and you would have a report out method for your students. So they come back in their groups, and maybe one of the roles that you could have designated was, okay, who's going to be the one to report out? Or, you know, you have your random number generator and just pick somebody from each group to report out. But what did you think? And I think we have few enough people that you probably could just unmute your microphones. What about size for the groups?
3 to 4.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking, but that's years of habit from my classes, I think. Anybody having something different than the 3 or 4?
That was consistent with our group. 4 seemed to be kind of a magic number.
Yeah. Group roles, yay or nay? Would you assign group roles?
Mary, this is Andrea. I would say that in my in-person class, I don't.
Uh-huh.
I let it organically happen. Who's going to be the writer of, if they're creating a poster, someone's going to, and it just sort of seems to happen, but I'm there looking at them. So, okay, who wants to share? And someone does. But I think in this group, in this case, I might prep them, give them roles, to share out. So they can be prepared, have it on their desktop type of thing. That was my thought.
I was thinking not to assign them the roles, but let them practice and participate in all types of roles. Switch them around every time. Just let them know you don't have to use the same role over and over. You need to learn those skills and try to get them out from their role, because that's the comfort zone role they are skilled with. They need to move on and do something else and learn a new skill.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. In our group, I said, it took me until graduate school to realize that the universal answer is it depends. So I think whether I would assign roles would depend on the kind of assignment that we're doing. Are they doing something collectively that can be submitted within their group, or does somebody need to report out on it when they come back? In which case, we might need to pick somebody to report out, or somebody to be the group recorder, or that kind of thing. And I do like some kind of a rotational basis so that somebody doesn't get stuck with the bulk of the work all the time. Anybody else on roles? You had ideas on those? If not, then what about keeping students in the same groups? Would you keep them in the same groups the whole semester? Would you switch them around, mix up the groups so they're working with different students? And you can put it in the chat or unmute your microphone.
I have done both, because sometimes if you've got something that they're continuing with the project, then I'd assign it. But for a lot of activities, just a random would be great.
Do I dare say it depends? No, I agree. If it's, I think moving around so they all get to see time with each other is better. But again, if it's a consistent thing, then you would keep them in that group.
I feel if it's a final project, then you have to stick them with the same group members. But if it's an individual activities or throughout the lessons, you can switch them around.
Yes, so we're all in agreement on the it depends part. What sort of assignment are you talking about? And sometimes maybe you've just got conflict in some groups and you don't want to necessarily call it out, but by mixing up the groups in a deliberate way, you can reduce the conflict within the class. I haven't done jigsaw activities in my classes in years, but I could see that being a case where I would want to have people in one arrangement and then mix them up. So with the jigsaw, you have maybe 3 components that each require some expertise. And so group 1 becomes the experts in area 1, and group 2 becomes the experts in area 2, group 3 becomes the experts in area 3. They get some time to work up their expertise, and then you reform the groups where now each group has 1 expert from each area. So then you've got a 1, a 2, and a 3 all in the same room. So I could see that being a model where you definitely would want to take advantage of being able to rearrange people and mixing up the groups. But I don't know. Do you think that the all online makes them more attached to their cohorts? I mean, they're kind of funny about it in class, like they get attached to their groups, but in online, would they feel even more strongly in this kind of environment that they want to stick with that group that they started with? I'm just throwing the question out there.
Over the summer, I experienced this, and a student complained to me, "Why did you switch me? Why didn't you switch someone else or whatever?"
Yeah.
So you could never convince them. It's just hard. They don't accept the situation. Got used to it, and I try to explain to them that they have to work with others. And besides like I mentioned, the group sizes are changing, and that's why I have to switch you around. So some groups are like missing some participants in there. I had to kind of shuffle and make it even out with the other groups.
You might have a day where, because I do this in my face-to-face classes, that I'll have a day where at a particular table, only one person is there. The other 2 or 3 people are absent. And then I need to merge people into groups. So that might be another reason.
They even mentioned the student that I had during summer, and she asked me why you switched me. I told her if it wasn't you, it would be the other person, and she got attached to that one member. And she mentioned that she wants to be with that specific member. It's because both of them together are doing the work. I guess they're succeeding in submitting their assignments, and
I
don't know. I mean, it's just they don't want to be uncomfortable, I guess.
Yep. I threw this slide in here because I don't know how many of you noticed, but when you come back in, you may find that you've been muted when you leave your small group and come into the general session. So this is something you might want to remind students when they jump back in. So if the breakout sessions aren't ended when you return to the main meeting, your audio is muted in that main meeting. So just double check, or have them double check whether or not they are muted, because they probably weren't in their little subgroup, but they are in the general session. And then initially your host or co-host assigned your breakout session, but they could choose, even while the sessions are in progress, they can choose to move you. So they could shuffle you halfway through your discussion, and you'd pop into another small group instead of the one you were working with. Again, I'm not sure what strategy I would be using where I would want to use that. And in our group, somebody was saying, well, as long as I let them know, I guess it was Joni was saying, as long as I let them know ahead of time, I would definitely want to let them know ahead of time that they could get moved to another group partway through. Do you guys think of circumstances under which you might use that, where there's a discussion session going on and you might move them around? Feel free to unmute.
Hi, it's PJ. I often do an activity where I start them in pairs and then put them into quads or something. So that might be an example of where I might switch up the groups. I teach journalism and comm, so I typically don't have them do a class project in their group. So I mix the groups up almost every class period.
So like I said, it works for different instructors in different ways.
Yeah.
If you didn't leave the session voluntarily, you kind of got booted out of the session. There was at the bottom the little red dot that had the door, the exit sign, that you can actively leave, or you can just wait until you're automatically returned. So this could be a slide that you would want to share with students when you're working on this. You know, when your breakout sessions end, you're going to see a message and you can choose to leave immediately, or you can just wait until the timer runs out. So some of these slides are for you as resources, and some of them you may just want to throw into a slideshow for your students so that they can see what some of these things look like the first couple of times that you're working with it. I have a second activity, and Juliet has the power, so I don't know if she's going to decide to put you in the same groups or if she's going to put you in different groups. So I guess you'll find out in a minute. But you are going to be working with your group on this Padlet. If you have the slides, because I shared the link, you could click anywhere on this corkboard, and it is hot linked to this Padlet. If you don't have the slides, then you can go to this bit.ly address, and it's going to take you out to a Padlet where I've already put up a sample response. Okay, so we're going to give you 10 minutes with your group, and you'll be able to go into this Padlet, which you can either, like I said, if you have the slides, you can click on the corkboard, or you can go to bit.ly/LOL Padlet. It is case sensitive. In your small group, brainstorm the types of activities you could do using breakout sessions. You have 10 minutes to brainstorm and record your group's ideas in the Padlet. I would like to see one person designated with the role of recorder. That person can type the responses for the group on the Padlet. Do you guys have questions? Or call us in if you're not clear because I was confusing.
I just don't know how to use Padlet, but when I go in there, I'll know.
Yes, or you know, if you didn't know how to use it but somebody else does, maybe that person's the recorder. But when you go to this link, all you have to do is double click on the corkboard. And I'm going to stop sharing, but I'm going to put that into the chat in case anybody needed that link.
All right, so this is cool. I can select, it's still there, so that's nice. If you bring everybody back, then you want to put them back in again. the breakout session assignments are the same, so that's good. I was worried I was going to have to like try to figure out who was all in before. Are you guys ready? See you. It was interesting. So if you're not, like if you're using the breakout session assignments, like can you do anything with the breakout sessions right now?
Let's see. Can't edit breakout session assignments because someone else is editing them.
Yeah, so if I like close the breakout session assignments, now you can open that breakout sessions.
Yeah, I like that you can set the time limit because I know that when I'm in the classroom, a lot of times it's okay and they're just not staying focused and staying on task. And so I'm, come on, you guys, you got 5 minutes, and they're still talking about the basketball game last night. Okay, you guys, you have 2 minutes. And then when you say, okay, time's up, that, well, we're not finished yet.
Right. So because some people left, I only have 1 student, so I'm going to edit this breakout session. You go down here and I see, that's, you know, I didn't know that. One thing is you don't really know that if somebody's asking for help unless you actually see it. So that's kind of interesting. Hi there.
So we have a question in our chat about pre-assigning breakout groups. So you can do it manually once you start the meeting, but can you do it prior to that? Like, can you do it when you set up the meeting so that they're already built? So it looks like that maybe in trainings you can pre-assign groups. So if we can't do that yet in meetings, I suspect it's a function that's coming. But I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Oh man, we're almost out of time again. All right, we're in the final countdown here. This looks good.
Okay. I'm going to listen to that and leave. Goodbye.
See ya. Yeah, now maybe we can practice manually leaving the breakout instead of getting kicked out. And we're back. No one else. It looks like everyone else is gonna wait.
Wait typically.
Wait to be kicked out.
Hey, did you guys have fun?
I was.
Yes, we had a great time.
I think the group that we got a little sidetracked, the group that I was working with, because we started just saying, hey, Padlet's cool, and doing all this other stuff. And I'm fine with that. This was just a sample activity, and Padlet's something that you can use inside the small group for some kind of student activity in class. I kind of like that your group can be working together on your own posts, and you can see posts that are going up from other groups at the same time. Now, whether you want to do something with that or not, is just there's one tool that can be used inside of these small groups for an activity. I am going to pull my slides back up. There we go. The next 3 slides that are in this slideshow, I have the red bar. I put the red bar because it's kind of the danger warning thing. It's not the turquoise bar. I pulled an article from the Cisco Webex site last week, and the article is called Known Issues and Limitations for Breakout Sessions in Webex Meetings. So if you want to see the whole thing, you can click on this title and go to it. But I pulled out some bullet points from it. So they said, here's limitations that we're going to be addressing in our next release. So we could expect those to be created. And they seem to be issues that are device specific if you read through them. So if you have students having trouble with this, you might want to come back to the list and say, oh, yeah, it says they can be in these, but they can't host. Or iPad users can't ask everybody to return to the meeting. So I think it's probably things you can work around. These features aren't currently supported while participating in a breakout session, raising hands, note taker roles, so you can read through these on your own. I talked to a couple of the groups about the whole annotation and whiteboard. If you really want that, you don't necessarily have to be able to pull up a whiteboard in your group. You can just pull up a blank document, whether it's a blank Google document or a blank Word document. If you pull up any blank page, then your group will be able to annotate on it together. And you can type stuff in or you can draw stuff in. So that's a workaround. Do we officially have the Webex whiteboard? No. Can we still use something else as a whiteboard? Yes. And then other limitations are here. So you may want to read through those three and make sure there's nothing that's going to get in the way of your activities that you have planned for your class. MESA's CTL had created a teaching with Webex document. So we figured rather than reinvent the wheel, we included a link to, so if you click on that book cover, it will take you to this document. Now I cleaned it up a little bit because there were a couple of things that were MESA specific. So if you're also teaching at MESA and you've seen this, it might look a little different. But you can get in here and either just sort of flip through it, you can zoom in or make it full screen, or down at the bottom there's a download. So you can download this PDF from them and have it for your own purposes. And they have things like hosting a meeting, but there is a section on breakout rooms. This is page 14. So on page 14 of this document starts breakout rooms, and they have information that may be more detailed than something we gave you today. So I'm going to go back to this guy. And then I have our usual. If you had questions, if you have something you could or would want to share with us, this link will take you to our suggestion box form. So if you have suggestions, if you have ideas, if you have something where you still want to learn about it and maybe we could do another session on it, then you can put it in the suggestion box. And what we're thinking for next week, again, here's your link to today's slides, bit.ly/LOL-breakout, and it is case sensitive, so it has to be capital L, capital O, capital L, so LOL-breakout will give you a copy of these slides. But for next week, what we're thinking is, since we showed you these breakout rooms this week, next week we want to give you more specific activities that you could use in these. So next week is breakout strategies and activities. And Jen promised you Google Jamboard, so one of them will be Google Jamboard. Right? That was my last slide, so I'm going to stop sharing. And I haven't left a whole lot of time, but we do have 5 minutes left. If anybody has questions or ideas or what you're thinking or what you'd really like to have us show you next week, then I'm open. You can put it in the chat or unmute your mic. Questions, comments, kind of activity you'd like to see next week? No?
I think your ideas sound good. I'll practice the group things this week, and then we'll get more creative next week.
Yeah, we'll put you in charge. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping, is that this week people will kind of test it out and get a feel for it and understand the controls. And then once you've got sort of basic mastery of it, then next week we'll say, all right, let's take it for a drive and do some activities. If you looked at today's Tech Tuesday email or the same information's on the CTLA blog, I have links to a bunch of articles from different universities around the country, and I guess around the world, because there's one from London and there might be one from Canada, where they have ideas for small group online activities. So I'm trying to kind of complement what we're doing here this week with the breakout sessions with those articles that I posted in today's Tech Tuesday. So, other questions? Anything? Are we good?
Maria, I have a question.
Yes.
We need to break the students during the meeting, Webex meeting, or can this be planned before?
I believe you can do it in advance, that you can set it up ahead of time or do it during the meeting.
But if you want to switch, then...
Well, if you want to switch, that's going to have to happen during, because you'd be switching from whatever the preset was.
Okay.
Okay. All right, you guys, Jen has off this week. So I'm going to ask the question she always asks. She wants to see your faces. Can everybody turn their cameras on? We'll see you guys next week. Come on.
Thank you.
Faces.
Bye. Great day, everybody. Guys are great.
Bye. Thank you, Mary.
Oh, thanks.
Well, we
All
can't
right.
free assign.
Good job, Juliet.
Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you for the info.
Well, thanks, PJ.
Bye bye.